Forbidden Knowledge Television.
This is logged in on November 25th, 2023, Eastern Standard Time. Sensitive material has been breached and it is now in front of the public. This is very sensitive documentation and the world will be in total chaos if leaked, and it is now leaked. All of it. Not one document, all of it. Place of exploitation, Forbidden Knowledge Television. This must be stopped. This must be stopped.
All right. What's happening, everybody? This is Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. All right, I wanted to pop this off yesterday, but I wasn't able to hop on yesterday, but I'm here today. So thank you, everyone, for getting in here. We're going to get as many people as we can in this, and then we're going to move over to Forbidden Knowledge TV, the link I'm going to drop so I can get uncensored. I'm going to get it started here, but I got to finish on Forbidden Knowledge TV. And don't worry, it doesn't cost you any money. I opened the link up for everyone to be able to watch this video tonight. As a matter of fact, let me just check on a couple things here real quick. We're going to get this party started here in just a minute. Make sure you guys click the like button. Make sure you share the video. All right. Make sure everyone. All right, there we go. That should straighten it out there. All right, it should be good to go. Now, let me tell you guys where we're going to be, okay? To watch this full video tonight, you're going to have to watch it on my other link. It's already live. All right, it's already live. It's all going to be on 4bk.tv. I'm going to drop the link for the rest of the Uncensored. I'm dropping it in here right now. I'm going to start moving y'all guys over to my own platform where I can say what I want to say. And I don't have to worry about getting censored. I don't have to worry about getting my platform, my account shut down, demonetized, and all that other crazy stuff. All right. Well, we're going to start it off here. But I'm going to finish it over there. All right. I'm going to finish it over there because there's a lot of stuff I want to say. And there's some videos and some actual evidence that I want to show you about this topic tonight that goes against all of the mainstream stories. No, you don't have to pay. You don't have to register for anything. You only have to pay if you want to watch other shows that's on my network. But if you want to watch this tonight, you don't even have to put a credit card or nothing in. You just have to click the link and you'll be able to watch it with no problem. All right. So just sending out a text real quick. Make sure everybody gets this text message. Again, make sure you guys click the like button. Make sure you share the videos. Share the link to this video. We want to get as many people going as we possibly can. And I just want to check on one thing real quick. Okay, yeah, that's looking good. The live stream is on my network so that when I cut over, we're good to go. All right. So I'm going to drop this link in here again a few more times as we fill up this live chat right now. Let me see who we have here. We got, okay, about 1,000 people. We need to get a few more people in here before I switch over. All right. As you know, today's topic is going to be the real reason the Twin Towers fell. And it's the Billy Carson Uncensored second episode. All right. The second episode of Uncensored. And the Uncensored gives me the ability to say what I want to say, how I want to say it. No beating around the bush. Right. No using code words and so forth. I can just flat out speak and talk. And I can actually express myself the way I want to express myself with no AI or anything else trying to shut me down or take away my platform. All right. This platform is a very valuable platform because this is the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast YouTube account. So we have other podcasters on here that rely on this income for their monthly needs. So we can't say anything here that's going to get them shut down. But on my platform, I can say whatever the hell I want to say. And that's exactly what I intend to do, just like I did last week when you guys tuned in and I talked about Fauci, right? I see my beautiful wife, Elizabeth Carson, is in the chat. So you guys, make sure you click the link that I'm dropping in the live chat. If you're on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching this, if you're on X or Twitter, you got to go to 4bk.tv or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on your device, and then look for the Billy Carson Uncensored about why the towers fell. All right, I'm going to expose Silverstein tonight. Larry Silverstein is getting exposed tonight, and his collaboration and his collusion in the death of a lot of people, and the reason behind it is all about seeking profits. All right, it's all about money. It's always follow the money. And you're going to learn a lot about this tonight. Some of you may know some of these things I say tonight, and some of the things I talk about tonight you may have never seen or heard of before. But we're going to break it down tonight, all right? We are going to break it down. If you want to get on my text message list, because I see people asking, let me pull up the number right quick and get you the number. I have a new text messaging number. We had switched to another platform because the other text messaging company we were using, they seem to be having some technical difficulties, unfortunately. So let me get you the number right now. And as soon as I find it again, drop it in the live chat for y'all so you can get on my text message list so that when I go live, I can send you a text. We really don't abuse it, guys. We pretty much let you know when we're going live, and on what platform we're going live on and what the topic is. For the most part, that's pretty much about what we send out. All right, let me get the number here. And man, this has been working well because since we started letting people contact us through text, we've been able to reply to a lot of text messages. We've given away some free gifts to people for being on our text message list, just randomly giving away Apple TVs. And it allows you to know when we go live. All right. So I'm just trying to pull up the number here. All right, here it goes. Is this it? My number. Here we go. Boom. I have to memorize this doggone number. We just got it not too long ago, so I'll have to memorize it. But it's a toll-free number, and I got it here. Boom. Okay, let me drop this number in the live chat here real quick, and we'll get this party started. All right. So you can text me, and every day I log in and answer a few questions. Okay. So I dropped it in here. Text Billy Carson 888-609. 3975. All right. 888-609-3975. Text Billy Carson. And we do respond to text, by the way. Okay. And there's a lot of them, so you don't get an answer back in 5 seconds. But we respond to most of the text messages that actually come in. All right. Now, if you want to be able to watch the rest of this video tonight, you'll have to click the link that I dropped in the live chat. And let me make sure it's in the caption of this video before I proceed and get this thing started. Just want to make sure everything is in alignment before I start and make sure that everyone has an opportunity to hear what I have to say tonight, because I'm getting ready to get completely uncensored. All right, completely uncensored. And I'm going to show you some stuff that's going to blow you away. All right, got it. So it's in the caption of this video. The link is in the caption of this video. I'm dropping it in the live chat again right now. So it should be there. All right. And in about, I don't know, maybe 5 more minutes or so, I'm going to disconnect YouTube. I'll only be live on the link I dropped in the live chat. So I recommend you go to that link now, because you can still see me in real time. I'm on that link. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to drop this link. All right. I'm going to drop YouTube off. I'm going to close it, so I'm not in any risk of losing my account. All right. And Facebook and wherever else I'm showing up, I'm going to disconnect all those links. All right. So tonight we're going to start by talking about, we're going to go all the way back to the 90s, the 1990s, long before the 9/11 attacks. All right. And so we're going to go back to the 1990s. We're going to talk about the first World Trade Center bombing that most people don't even know even happened. I'm going to talk to you about why it happened, how it happened, who was behind it, and what that led to. All right. This thing goes back a very, very long time. These types of, I can't say the word here. See, there's a phrase that I want to say right now, but I can't say it here because when I actually played a video that I created with Donnie Arcade with that phrase in it, they deleted the video and gave me a content strike on my account. So I can't say the phrase. So I can say it over there. As soon as we get over there, I can say it on the other account. But it takes decades to plan these things, decades to plan these things. It's intricate. There are many, many moving pieces. They use compartmentalized techniques so that one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. So one person doesn't even know what the full puzzle is. They only know they have a small part in the puzzle. And most of them don't even know what the full outcome is even going to be, but they're just involved in it. Okay? They're involved because they take orders. People who blindly take orders are in full collusion with the outcome of events like 9/11. It's really, really deep stuff. All right. We're going to go into 1998 and talk about the U.S. embassy bombings in East Africa. Okay. There's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot to unpack. We're going to get into 1999 and talk about planning and training of Al Qaeda. And why was the CIA training these people in the first place? Why did we give them the weapons? Okay. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to get into the USS Cole bombing. And then we'll get into, again, now we're hitting 2021. And I'm sorry, 2001. And in 2001, we're going to get into the actual events that took place. All right. It's a culmination. 9/11 was a culmination of a lot of things that happened long before 9/11 even happened. Okay, we're going to talk about the programming that's involved and how it's all been set up. All right, so you got to click the link. I'm going to drop it in the live chat again right now. You got to click the link that I'm dropping in the live chat. Meet me over there on my own platform. Meet me on Forbidden Knowledge TV. Okay, now Forbidden Knowledge TV is an app, but it also works on the web. It's an app that's on the iOS App Store for iPhones and what do you call it, iPads. It's on the Google Play Store for Android devices. It's on the Apple TV Store. It is on the Roku Store, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung TV, and of course, it's on the web, which is the link that I'm dropping here. All right. You can see that there's been over 100,000 downloads of this app on Apple and also on Google, all 5 stars. Because I'm in there getting loose, but not just me. We got my wife Elizabeth in there dropping knowledge. She's going to have her own uncensored show soon too, to talk about the pharmaceutical companies. And then we have about maybe 3,000 other episodes of content on the network, most of which you can't find on YouTube or anywhere else, which is why you have to get the app. All right. You have to get the app or click this link. You'll find that there's so much content on there. Even my Egyptian Mystery School, which is 39 episodes, 30 hours of teaching, is on the app exclusively. All right. So I'm going to drop the link again. And by the way, I'm getting ready to disconnect YouTube so I can get right on into it. All right. Because there's a lot of information to cover and I'm on a limited amount of time because my wife and my son, one of my sons and my wife have something planned for me tonight. So let me get right to it. All right. So I'm disconnecting my Billy C. Carson Facebook. So I hope you click the link that's in the live chat. That's disconnected now. Boom. All right. Now I'm going to disconnect Forbidden Knowledge on Facebook. I'm disconnecting that. Now I'm going to disconnect Twitter or X. Go to 4bk.tv and look in the trending videos at the top and just look for Billy Carson Uncensored. You'll find that I'm live right now. Removing X right now. X is off. Boom. Bye. What else do we got? I got another X account. I had 2 X accounts. Let me remove this one. All right. The last one I'm taking off right now is YouTube. I'm going to drop the link in the live chat one more time. Y'all got to meet me over there on my own platform where I can say what the hell I want to say, because I'm getting ready to get busy tonight. I'm dropping the bars. All right. So I'm about to disconnect YouTube right now. YouTube, I see you on the other side. All right. We should be on my own platform now. Hopefully, as many people as possible moved over. Like I told you, I'm not going to lose my accounts. All right. I'm checking my stream status. My stream status is green, which means I am live and everything is going exactly as planned. All right. So now that we're here, first of all, welcome to the Forbidden Knowledge TV platform. All right. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to become a member of Forbidden Knowledge TV. You can get the app, like I said, on your app store. We're streaming everywhere. You can even Chromecast it. You can share screen with other devices and TVs, whatever you want. It's a very flexible app. It's just like Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, except it has our content on it, the content that we want to watch. And it has a lot of the same functionality that you could find on any other streaming TV app, except this is the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. All right. Now, let's get back into it. Let's go back into what we were talking about here, getting into the events leading up to 9/11. First, let's go back to 1990. All right. This is how far back it goes. And this even took planning. So we're talking about going back into the 80s. Some of you weren't even born yet when this whole damn thing started. The plan to have 9/11 was started in the 1980s, most likely. By 1993, they were able to manifest their first attack. The first attack was 1993. It was the first World Trade Center bombing. Okay. If you didn't know, it happened already earlier in the 90s. February 26, a truck bomb exploded the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City, killing 6 people and injuring over 1,000. That was just a warm-up drill. That was a warm-up drill. A group of these people got together in the 80s and said, how can we implement X amount of new laws that restrict the flow of not only our people in America, but the flow and tracking of people worldwide, and implement laws on them that they normally wouldn't even vote for, but can be overridden because of national security. We have to have a threat, but it has to be a real threat. It has to be an attack. It has to be something that actually happens that allows us to enact new laws that they will never question, because fear allows us to manipulate them. So they planned this first bomb, a truck bomb. All right. That blows up and kills over 1,000 people. That's the warm up to 9/11. Oh man, now people have in their minds, oh, it's not safe here. These things can really happen. This stuff can really occur. And then move forward to 1996, the formation of the Hamburg Cell. That was a group of radical Islamic extremists, which included some of the future 9/11 hijackers, supposedly. All right, supposedly. Muhammad Atta, Marwan al-Shahi, and Ziad Zarrah. They were a part of this terrorist group in Hamburg, Germany. Okay. Now, if you remember some of those names, if you're not too young, you remember that some of those names were the same people that were involved supposedly in these 9/11 attacks, by hijacking the planes. Okay. So we know that this formation of this Hamburg cell occurred. Why? Because the CIA was heavily involved in it. They were heavily involved in the creation and the formation of these terrorist cells. Because why? They wanted to stop the advancing of Russia into territories that the United States wanted to take over and put puppet dictators in and steal resources from. So they began to do it through terrorists instead of having a direct action of the US against Russia, which will create, as we know, a nuclear war. They said, well, we'll create these terrorists. We'll train them. We'll give them weapons. and it will have them repel our enemy or our foes away from the areas that we want to dominate and take over. And in collaboration with them, we'll get them to agree to give us access to these certain areas so that we can begin to do what we need to do. We'll fund them, but we'll get access to resources. So we'll have resources that we can corporatize and monetize and capitalize on, and we'll give them some scraps and give them some weapons and some Jeeps and some cars and some training, and they'll be happier than pigs in slop, which they were. It's just like when we came to America, right? We meaning Europeans coming to America and offered the native indigenous people trinkets for hundreds and sometimes thousands of acres of land. And they took it. So they got swindled out of their land because, they accepted the trinkets. Same thing happened. They use the same technique they used to steal the land called America. They use that same technique to swindle these Islamic people and turn them into these extremists. And of course, get them to allow us to utilize areas within their region, steal their resources from them, as long as they got weapons, guns, and training. Then we move on to 1998, the U.S. Embassy bombings in East Africa. A coordinated truck bomb explodes outside the American embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing 224 people and injuring thousands. Why is that important? Because Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda are linked to the attacks. Now, Al-Qaeda is a direct creation of the United States. The same thing I just told you a few minutes ago. We created Al-Qaeda. We created, and I do mean we. When I say we, I'm talking about we. Every civilian in this country that pays taxes and doesn't stop or doesn't stand up for what's going on when the government sneaks into other countries and creates terror cells and steals resources and kills people, our silence is our collusion. So I do mean we when I say we. It's we who do this. We, all of us, we're all guilty, including myself. Our silence is our collusion. Well, I just go to work every day and I'm just trying to take care of my family. Yeah, but you pay taxes. And not once did anybody decide to coordinate and organize against the government for the atrocities that they're laying out against mankind on this planet. Not one of us. Not in any way that would stop them, because we're too busy fighting each other. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm a Christian. I'm a Muslim. I'm LGBT. I don't know what I am. I'm black. I'm white. We look like clowns out here, and they're laughing at us at every turn. And so they say, we're just chattel. Blow them buildings up with the people inside of them. To hell with them people. We don't even care about those damn people. They mean nothing to us. That's the real thought that they have in their mind. We're nothing to these people. We're useless bags of slop. And we keep running behind them and praising them and voting for them and calling out their names as if the creator of the universe or something, like they're gods. They're nobodies but evil, demonic people that can care any bit about you or your family. Never have and never will. So Osama bin Laden is given direct CIA training. He's working with the CIA for quite some time. The weapons that Al-Qaeda utilized in their terrorist attacks in other countries, not only just the one that they're trying to claim is in America, but other countries and throughout that whole region, those are all done by utilizing United States weapons. See, the United States is one of the largest arms dealers in the world. We sell weapons to everyone, whoever's got the money to buy them, and mostly who's at the head of that? The CIA. See, I can't say that shit on YouTube. I say that shit on YouTube, I'm shut down. You see? And what I was going to say earlier when I was on YouTube, I was talking about false flags. You can't say false flags on YouTube or they shut your account down. You see, my account ain't going nowhere because I own this account. I own this network. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say. It's a false flag attack. The United States gave Osama bin Laden weapons, training, had him running ops for the CIA in the Middle East. They militarized his followers. They gave him jeeps, food, money, funding, everything he needed to help him push out the Russians, help them push out the Russians so that they can take over resources and countries that they wanted to take over and not let Russia get a stronghold on those areas. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And they act like Osama bin Laden is this big world enemy. He was just your friend last week. He was your friend. Now he's your enemy, right? Now he's your enemy. He was your friend last week. Listen now. Crazy. August 20th, 1998. Operation Infinite Reach. Operation Infinite Reach. The U.S. launched a cruise missile that strikes Al-Qaeda training camps in Afghanistan and a pharmaceutical factory in Sudan in retaliation for the embassy bombings. So let me tell you what happens here now. This is how these are some sick people. First, they get the Al-Qaeda, create Al-Qaeda, they create the terrorist cells, they fund them, they give them the money, they give them food, the resources, everything. They need connections. They send them on ops to do stuff and blow shit up, all while pretending like we're not connected with them. We have nothing to do with them. They're totally separate, isolated terrorists that are trying to make their statement in the world. And now we get them to blow up our own embassy, the U.S. Embassy in East Africa. Why Africa? Because they don't give a shit about black people. And then guess what happens? Guess what happens? Now they say, okay, we got everyone's attention. Now we have to look like we want revenge. This is where they made one of their biggest mistakes, but this is where they said we got to get revenge. So they launched a cruise missile and blow up an Al-Qaeda training camp. An Al-Qaeda training camp, it shouldn't even be called an Al-Qaeda training camp. It should be called a CIA training camp, because that's exactly what it was. It was a CIA training camp. It was not an Al-Qaeda training camp. And everything there came from the U.S. government. So we sent one of our own missiles to blow that shit up with the people inside and kill all the people that we worked with and trained and everything else and built this trust and faith in. They thought they were doing ops for us and they were, praise Allah, going, and we were on the same mission as them. We fooled them, you see, because they're fanatics. Easily fooled them. The next thing you know, we blow them up. Now they're pissed. Now they're extremely pissed. Now they become our enemies. You see, they hadn't become the enemy yet until that point when we dropped the bomb on them, because we had to make it look like to the world like we wanted revenge for attacks that we ourselves created, that we ourselves ordered those attacks. But now we have to present to the world like, oh, wow, they hurt us. We need revenge against them. See? And that's why another part of it was, we knew that Afghanistan had a stronghold on the poppy seeds and the poppy farms, right? The heroin. And the United States had big plans for that heroin. Well, one of the main reasons why they created Al-Qaeda was so that they can make hundreds of millions of dollars selling heroin, which is exactly what they did. Exactly what they did. U.S. military took over those poppy fields and protected the farmers, secured all the land, allowed them to harvest all that heroin, package it up, and ship it to America. Now, check this out. 70% went to Big Pharma and 30% hit the streets under the guidance and approval of the CIA and the FBI. Let me say that again. 70% went to big pharma for profits, for sale, regular capitalization, legal drug dealing. And then they threw 30% of the dope on the streets to get paid from the street money too. These people are evil, man. These are some wicked, wicked people. Real wicked people. 1999, November, December, planning and training. Key Al-Qaeda operatives, including Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and the principal architect of the 9/11 attacks, according to the mainstream, meet to finalize plans. The future hijackers receive pilot training. So this whole thing now is very interesting here. This is where it gets really interesting, because they have support from someone in the United States. They have support from a three-letter agency, whether it's the FBI or the CIA or a combination of both. These people are allowed to get into the country. They're allowed to go to pilot school. But again, this is where they themselves got manipulated and pimped again. They thought they were going to act out these courageous acts in the name of Allah against America. But evidence shows that the pilot training they received was not adequate enough for them to be able to navigate commercial jets in the way that they navigated them, to make those sophisticated turns, to make those hit those sophisticated coordinates, and precisely strike dead center of the Twin Towers, to strike and make the angle and the turn required to hit the Pentagon. The training they had, it did not match up with the level of skill shown by the piloting that happened. So either one of two things happened. Those weren't airplanes, as General Studevine was famously quoted saying that he saw a cruise missile hit the Pentagon. One of the most highly decorated generals we have in the U.S. military, General Studevine. Look him up. He says it wasn't an airplane, it was a cruise missile. And so these guys got mind pimped into thinking that they were going to be a part of this attack, when in actuality, they were the fall guys again. They got them again. They got these idiots again. They got them. Oh, mashallah. They think they're gonna, they're gonna go see their virgins. They're gonna go see their 70 virgins. Or I heard so many different stories. 13 virgins, 76 virgins, or whatever. But it's never infinite virgins. I want to find something out first before I go on. I got to go on a sidetrack real quick. If you're going to be a fanatical Islamist and you're going to blow yourself up so that you can go to paradise and be with your virgins, why do you have a limited number of virgins? Why are you happy to go for 13 virgins or 20 virgins or 36 or 70 virgins, whatever the number is? I don't think it goes higher than 100. Wouldn't you want unlimited virgins if you're going to be living forever, all eternity in paradise? Wouldn't you want unlimited virgins? I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. I mean, why would you only want 20 or 30 or 13 or whatever the hell they promised you to blow yourself up? I mean, come on. See, this is why the CIA, they knew that they were dealing with dummies. They knew they were dealing with absolute dummies. So they said, we're going to get this. They're going to be part of our plan to make it look like we had them crash these planes into these buildings. You see? It's going to be so easy. They are the fall guys. We know these dummies can't fly these damn planes, but we're going to make the world think they could. Put them in one of these shitty little schools, these little flight and pilot schools. Put them on some of these, these training devices. What do they call those things? They're not even real planes they're flying. They're flying simulators. They're like playing a video game. These guys never flew a damn plane in their life. And all of a sudden they can execute these incredible, turns and banks and know how to hit coordinates directly on target and everything else. Get out of here. These guys were complete idiots. Fanatical, radical idiots. I mean, dumb. Dumber than a box of rocks. But the whole world's thinking, Oh my God, these guys went to school for 5 weeks to learn how to fly planes into buildings. Get out of here. These guys didn't fly a damn thing. Okay? Just understand this. They never flew a damn plane. Not once. Not once. Moving forward to 2001. Okay? Several 9/11 hijackers, including Nawaf Hazami and Khalid Madir, arrive in the U.S. and begin setting up various locations, including California and Florida, these little cell zones where they would camp out and live in these little rental houses or rent rooms in houses and things like that. That's what they were up to. All right. They began their final preparations in July, and the hijackers purchased tickets to conduct surveillance flights and continue flight training. Mohammed Atta, the lead hijacker, and the other team members finalized their plans as well. And these guys are getting ready to, mashallah, they're getting ready to go to heaven and everything else. And praise Allah, they're going to blow themselves up on this plane. They're going to crash the plane in the name of Allah. But the CIA had other plans. They were just the fall guys, the absolute fall guys. All right. Let's check this out. On August 6, 2001, a briefing titled "Bin Laden Determined to Strike in U.S." is delivered to President George W. Bush, warning of a possible terrorist attack. So, they've been given this warning of a possible terrorist attack. I want you to remember this date, August the 6th, 2001. Let me show you this. Let me play a video for you real quick. August the 6th, 2001. Let's play this video and find out what happened before 2001 and what was exactly said. Check this out.
BuzzFeed dug up an old quote from Donald Trump talking about a large-scale terror attack 19 months before 9/11. In his 2000 book, The America We Deserve, Trump wrote, "I really am convinced we're in danger of the sort of terrorist attacks that will make the bombing of the 1993 Trade Center look like little kids playing with firecrackers." Trump also mentioned the mastermind of the attack, writing, quote, "One day, we're told that a shadowy figure with no fixed address named Osama bin Laden is public enemy number one, and U.S. jet fighters lay waste to his camp in Afghanistan. He escapes back under some rock, and a few news cycles later, it's on to a new enemy and a new crisis."
So, Willie, that was
2000.
In a book he wrote in the year 2000. Yeah.
Well, it was published in 2000. He could have written in 1999 for all we know.
Exactly. He might have been a bit more precious.
So he basically predicted the attacks from Osama bin Laden.
Oh, he predicted the attacks from Osama bin Laden. He specifically said Osama bin Laden, a shadowy figure, was going to attack and it blow up, the Twin Towers. Now, this was in a book that he wrote. He probably started writing the book in the 90s. It finally got published in 2000. Now, remember I told you the date, right? Remember that date I gave you earlier? August 6th, 2001 is when a briefing titled "Bin Laden Determined to Strike U.S." is delivered to President George W. Bush, warning of possible terrorist attacks. However, Trump had already known about these attacks from the 90s, that it was going to happen, and specifically and exactly in great detail what was going to happen. So much so that he wrote it in his book, almost verbatim is exactly what happened. Now, that's pretty damn interesting, isn't it? Do you think that's a coincidence? Do you really think that that is a coincidence? I doubt it. I doubt it. I really doubt it. These planes were remote controlled. These hijacking idiots did nothing. The planes were remote controlled by an outside source, a radio frequency or whatever. They were rigged to be remote controlled from a remote location. That's how these planes were able to achieve these incredible banks, turns, and achieve hitting targets and everything else. The planes were remote controlled, okay? And these Al-Qaeda people were the fall guys. Check this out. Let me read this something to you. Here, let me give you more proof that they were the fall guys. Now, we know that when the building, the towers dropped and fell, everything that was anything was completely incinerated because of the type of chemical they used to blow the building up. And I do mean blow the building up. We know that it burnt for months, and very little, if any, of any body parts were ever really found, because the ones that fell down inside the footprint of the building were also incinerated with that chemical. Now, miraculously, to keep their story on the right track and keep the world believing that it was this terror cell that did all this work without any help from the US government at all, they go ahead and place the passports. So 4 passports of the hijackers involved in the September 11, 2001 attacks were recovered. You mean to tell me they can't find a shred of anything worth anything bigger than the palm of anybody's hand? Everything has been completely dissolved, burnt, charred, destroyed. But miraculously, they just so happened to find passports from the terrorists. Again, this is the point your finger technique, the point your finger method. We found them, we got them. Even though they're dead, we're still going to pin this on them. Ziad Zara and Saeed El Gamadi passports were found in the crash site of the United States Flight 93 in Pennsylvania. Satam Al-Sakwami, a passerby, picked up the passport from American Airlines Flight 11 and gave it to an NYPD detective before the World Trade Center fell. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Right? Then you have Abdulaziz Al-Amari. The passport was found in luggage that didn't make it from Portland to Boston onto the American Airlines Flight 11. Oh, what a coincidence. So they got their asses completely covered for all the flights that crashed that day. They got themselves covered. They got their fall guys. They got their complete idiots, their bumbling idiots. They got them. They got them. And everybody's like, oh, that was really them because they found their passport. These passports must be made out of material stronger than the Twin Towers. As a matter of fact, we should investigate and research how we can build buildings and towers out of the material that those passports were made out of, because they're indestructible. They're absolutely indestructible. They were fall guys. They never flew a damn thing. Those planes, if they were even planes, were remote controlled. Now, what's interesting is the day of 9/11, Bush is at an elementary school. And at this elementary school, he's sitting there while students are reading vocabulary words. Interesting vocabulary words, an interesting choice of words to use. And he's sitting there with a school book in his hand, and it's upside down. A lot of people were saying, this guy's a complete idiot. He's sitting there with a book upside down. He's a dummy. No, he's not a dummy. That's a code that he sends to his oligarchs, letting them know that the mission is complete. The book is upside down. That's secret society shit. That's what that is. Listen to the words that these kids say. Plane must hit steel. Check this out.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Steel. What word? Steel. Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steel. Yes, steel. Get ready. Plane. Yes, plane. Get ready. Mud. Yes, mud. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. He's sitting there, and if you were able to zoom in, which is obviously you can't do it here from the screen, but the book is upside down. It sends a signal. He actually has a picture of him standing with the book a little bit more up towards the camera, upside down. You can Google that image. It's well known. These kids are talking about planes hitting steel, kite must fly, plane hitting steel. Those are their vocabulary words at the same time that 9/11 attacks happen. Again, not a coincidence. Not a coincidence. This whole thing is planned at such an intricate and detailed level. In the Illuminati order, they have this, there was this one lady who wanted out, and she sent the letter into this radio station in the 90s. And they have this statement that they made in there. And in this thing, where she's giving them this breakdown of this, with their guidelines and their rules, or how they abide by their belief system and what their ultimate goal and agenda is. It says in there, it says, the illusion will be so great, it will escape their perception. The illusion will be so great, it will escape their perception. That was sent in by an anonymous person to a radio host in the 90s. It was much more detailed, and there was a lot in there that was just mind-blowing. It went into pharmaceuticals, how their plan was to attack children while they're young, and everything else with candies and chemicals and everything else, and how to destroy their lives through their teeth. I mean, it was incredible. But that one statement always stuck out to me. The illusion will be so great, it will escape their perception. So this illusion is so huge and so wide and so vast, the average person can't connect all the dots. So we just give up and say, oh yeah, whatever the government says, it's okay with me, because it's just too difficult. I want you guys to understand the depth of this thing. So I'm going to play a couple more videos for you that you really need to understand. All right, check this out.
Some people appear to have known the imminent future on that fateful day. FEMA had arrived in New York on Monday night, ready for a bioterror drill. Spokesman Tom Kenny to Dan Rather.
To be honest with you, we arrived on late Monday night and went into action on Tuesday morning. And not until today did we get a full opportunity to work the entire site other than the spot at Church and Day to which we were deployed.
And Rudy Giuliani, mayor of New York, tells ABC's Peter Jennings that he was aware the towers would be coming down.
What is going on now is a massive rescue effort.
Do you believe it's hundreds or thousands?
I really don't want to say right now, Peter. I think it's going to be a horrible number. I saw people jumping out of the World Trade Center. I saw some of the firefighters who I know going into the building. And we were in a building in which we were trapped for about 10, 15 minutes. And we set up headquarters at 75 Barclay Street, which was right there with the police commissioner, the fire commissioner, the head of emergency management. And we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse. The World Trade Center was going to collapse. It was going to collapse. It was going to collapse.
Similarly, Larry Silverstein, new leaseholder of the World Trade Center, regretfully declared that a decision was made to pull Building 7 by the end of the day, the last structure added to the World Trade Center complex. Let's hear Mr. Silverstein's actual words, delivered for our benefit in the 2002 PBS documentary, America Rebuilds.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Blast, shoot, blow, and pull are terms used in the demolition industry to refer to bringing down buildings, bridges, and other structures.
Because I actually blew the hospital down that I was born in.
Originally, we had figured to shoot it, let it drop straight down.
Then, watch Demolition Dynamics attempt a big blast.
And from Ground Zero's own post-disaster wrecking crew.
By mid-December, the Department of Design and Construction had leveled World Trade Center buildings 4 and 5.
Hello? Oh, we're getting ready to pull building 6.
Silverstein, a commercial real estate tycoon with international political connections, acquired a 99-year lease on the World Trade Center complex in the spring of 2001. Throughout the summer, he reworked the insurance policies on his new property, making sure that it was covered for acts of terrorism. Explicit in the lease agreement was Silverstein's right to rebuild the complex if it were destroyed. After 9/11, Mr. Silverstein fought his insurers in court to obtain double his policy limits for the destruction of his property, maintaining that the double hijacking constituted 2 disasters caused by terrorists, not just one. He won and was awarded over $7 billion, a magnificent return on his original $15 million investment.
My first reaction is to think about the families of those people, the tragedy, the magnitude of it. However, I firmly believe that we should rebuild.
Just in the last few seconds, another building, building number 7, one of the buildings in support of the World Trade Center towers, has collapsed.
World Trade 7, functioning as the command center for the complex, housed giant diesel backup and oxygen systems, the mayor's protected emergency bunker, and offices for the CIA, Secret Service, Department of Defense, and Securities and Exchange Commission. Its other tenants were insurance companies, brokerages, and banks. No plane hit Building 7, but at 5:20 p.m. on September 11th, it collapsed in a heap on the ground. Some damage to Building 7 is said to have been caused by debris from Tower 1. Though this New York Times article tells us Building 7 burned like a giant torch, the only visuals that exist are of unidentified smoke and a few small fires. Compare this to the wallops sustained by World Trade Center 3, 4, 5, and 6. Positioned right below the towers, damage to the surrounding World Trade Center buildings was infinitely worse. Still, the structures held up. But somehow, rescue workers knew that Building 7 would fall.
You hear that?
Keep your eye on that building. It'll be coming down soon.
A 47-story skyscraper, Building 7 folded neatly in 6.5 seconds, a textbook descent right into its footprint. Silverstein Properties now tells us that its owner was referring to the team of firefighters inside the building when he spoke of the decision to pulling the firemen out of harm's way. However, there were no firefighters in Building 7, according to FEMA, NIST, and Fire Chief Frank Fellini. They were ordered out at 11:30 that morning. 6 hours later, the building came down.
You know, we heard this sound that sounded like a clap of thunder. Turned around, it looked like there was a shock wave ripping through the building, and the windows all busted out, and it was horrifying. About a second later, the bottom floor caves out, and the building followed after that.
Radio host Alex Jones notes the mark of a classic implosion.
This is a photo taken 1 second into Building 7's collapse. Notice the crimp. If we look at other controlled demolitions, we see that they first blow one of the central columns so the building falls in on itself. If you don't do this, the building falls outward and can damage surrounding structures. Building 7 had a classic crimp, or wedge. Its central column was blown out first, so it didn't structurally damage buildings just a few feet away from it.
Remember the mayor's emergency bunker? Ensconced on the 23rd floor of Building 7, it was retrofitted with superglass, water, oxygen, and its own generator. But Mayor Giuliani chose to find emergency shelter elsewhere on September 11th. Why Building 7? Even the media and its experts were confused. The History Channel interviews structural engineer Ramon Gilsans, who points out the obvious crimp and even speaks of the implosion.
Engineers are not just focusing on the Twin Towers. The most disturbing structural event was not that the Twin Towers fell, but that Tower 7, ignited by flying debris, fell due to fire alone.
Building 7 was a steel frame building and is the first steel frame building that has collapsed due to fire. The failure of the building was an implosion, so it failed completely different than Towers 1 and 2, in which the floors failed first.
Why Building 7? Let's ask the question again. As the WTC Command Center, was it the hub for the 9/11 plan? Also, in 6.5 seconds, lost forever were thousands of SEC case files on corporate fraud, including those relating to the notorious activities of giants WorldCom and Enron. A few indictments for stock fraud, but what of the $70 billion California electricity swindle? It disappeared.
Yeah, it disappeared. That's where it went. That's exactly where it went. And the plane that hit the Pentagon hit the exact precise location of the Pentagon where Oliver North says all the information and records about the 17 trillion or whatever the trillion number was of dollars went missing, and the records are there and the computers are there. And that's the same exact location that was hit. They took out multiple birds with one stone, with a group of bumbling idiots hoping to get their virgins. They took out documents that proved they were in collusion with theft of monies from the United States people. They took out the entire building and structure that housed all of the evidence, the entire command center that built this entire thing from the 80s all the way to 2001 to its final culmination, 9/11 attacks. They took that building out, building number 7. That was the hub. That was the command center. They had to take out all that evidence. And within that same place, they just so happened to have housed Enron and all the other big fraudulent oligarchs' documentation. It all disappeared at once because they were all in collusion. You see, it's one small group of people, maybe between 30 to 50 men that had billions of dollars each, that really operate and control the planet from behind the scenes, that orchestrated this entire thing. And it took decades, but they were able to get the cake and the icing on top. Now, you might say to yourself, how in the world can a building be wired or rigged to be pulled or to be imploded, right? To be controlled demolition. I mean, these buildings were built. You think they were built with controlled demolition explosives on the inside of them? No, they weren't. But there's a little bit of a key here that you can look into. George Bush's brother got the contract to remediate the asbestos in the World Trade Center buildings prior to the attack. They discovered that these World Trade Center buildings were built with, I think it was hundreds of thousands of tons of asbestos, poisonous, contaminated material inside the walls that gives you mesothelioma or some kind of crazy lung disease. And that the people working there were at risk of getting all of these diseases. And I think some of them had. They discovered this was really a toxic thing to utilize in any kind of building construction. It's since now been banned. But the remediation process had taken place prior to these buildings being controlled demolition. And what's interesting is they would do this in the middle of the night. They would come there with crews. Bush's brother was in control of this whole project. He had the contract for this project. And they were working behind the walls, within the walls of the structure itself, on the World Trade Center buildings, all of them, to remediate this asbestos. What they were really doing is they were wiring these buildings to be blown up with people inside. That's what they were really doing this whole time. For years, they were wiring the buildings day by day, and people thought they were there to help them get their health together and clean the poisonous asbestos out of the inside of these buildings. No, they were wiring the buildings to blow. What's interesting is, again, after the 9/11 controlled demolition happened, because we can now call it what it really was, researchers and scientists and ecologists discovered hundreds of thousands of tons of asbestos had been released from these buildings and gone into the air, into the atmosphere, and it had been poisoning people. People have won $30 million lawsuits from the asbestos contamination in their bodies from the 9/11 attacks. Look up the winnings. So my question is, if he had spent a decade cleaning the asbestos out of all of these buildings and remediating this asbestos, why in the hell was it still there? He never took out any damn asbestos. He only wired the building to be blown up with his crews. His specialists, he probably had a munitions crew working with him. Not asbestos crew, a munitions crew. People who knew how to rig a building to implode. Controlled demolition. That's what happened. Marvin Bush, that's his name. Good old Marvin. Marvin Bush, he ran the team that was supposed to clean all this asbestos that never got cleaned, but they were there every day and every night, working inside the walls, working to do what? To rig these buildings to explode. Check this out.
What happened?
We was in an explosion. We was in the lobby and the third explosion, the whole lobby collapsed on us.
You're kidding
What was
me.
it like? What was it like?
Horrible.
It's like hell. You don't want to know.
The whole building just collapsed on us inside the lobby.
Was that a secondary explosion?
Yes, it was.
That was the
planet, probably. Yeah, definitely secondary explosion. Because we was inside waiting to go upstairs, and on the way upstairs, the whole fucking thing blew, and we just collapsed on everybody inside the lobby.
Similar to the first tower coming down, secondary.
I don't know about the first one, but I know the second one was terrible. Then there was a third one too after that one.
Third explosion after that.
That's right. Everybody was inside the building, waiting to go upstairs. And they just let loose. Everything just let loose inside the building.
So what you told me is that there was a plane or whatever hit the building, then a secondary explosion.
It was like 3 explosions after that. We came in after the fire. We came when the fire was going on already. We was in the staging area inside the building, waiting to go upstairs. And they exploded. The whole lobby collapsed on the lobby inside.
And it's just mayhem after that?
Just man, everybody tried to make their way out.
Just trying to help all the brothers get out.
I heard a big explosion. I didn't know what was going on, so I decided to look out my window. It's a building complex, so you can see the other side of the building. It started going into smoke. My neighbors came banging on my door telling me to get out. I guess it was evacuated the building. And I couldn't get out. My door was jammed. Everything off my windowsill fell, and I guess the impact of the explosion jammed the door as well.
How loud was it?
It was extremely loud. I couldn't even explain it to you if I couldn't. It was just so loud that it woke me out of my sleep. That's how loud it was.
It woke
loud
you up.
Yes.
I saw a man, looks like your father, was it? Came up just a few minutes ago, embraced you.
Yes, he did, because he was so worried. It was the way that I called him. I was actually almost having an anxiety attack because I was crying and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, explosions, bombs going off. And this is the person responsible right here. Good old Marvin Bush. That's the guy who wired these buildings to blow while people were still inside of them. Do you think that the people of New York City would have gone to work and sign their employment contract knowing that they're sitting inside of buildings that are pre-wired to explode. Think about that. Larry Silverstein gave the order to pull Building 7. That means to control demolition it. And that means that some of the fire department was in complete collusion with this explosion as well. Don't think they were all on the innocent side. They knew that these buildings were rigged to blow up. How many of you go to work tomorrow and think, I wonder if this building is rigged to blow up? Why didn't they disclose that to these people when they got the job? Hey, by the way, thank you for coming in and congratulations on being hired. By the way, this building is rigged to blow at anybody's command, or Larry Silverstein's command, or any, what do you call it, fire department chief command. This building is rigged to blow. I just want you to know that. Now go have a good day. What do you mean rigged to blow? Yeah, at any moment, just depending on, what's going on, we can we can press a button and we can drop this whole building on its own footprint with you inside of it. Now have a good day. Carry on. You know how long it took to rig these buildings to blow? They probably used something like thermite to cut the beams. Thermite most likely is what cut those steel beams in their munitions that they used to blow these buildings up with people inside of them. They did kill a lot of firemen too. About 300 or 400 firemen died. But the ones that knew that Building 7 was rigged to blow up by pressing a damn button, somebody got paid pretty good money to stay quiet about that. They probably didn't know that they were on a recorded line when they agreed to blow or to pull Building 7. As you heard Larry Silverstein give that order in a video or two ago that I had just played, right? It's a pretty incredible story. Like I said, the illusion will be so great, it will escape their perception. Let me check.
I said, how could a plane, even a 767 or 747 or whatever it might have been, how could it possibly go through this deal? I happen to think that they had not only a plane, but they had bombs that exploded almost simultaneously, because I just can't imagine anything being able to go through that wall. Most buildings are built with the steel is on the inside around the elevator shaft. This one was built from the outside, which is the strongest structure you can have, and it was almost just like a can of soup.
Donald, we were looking at pictures all morning long of that plane coming into building number 2, and when you building number 2, and
Donald Trump says, hey, this guy builds these kind of skyscrapers for a living. He said the way this thing was constructed, no way. No way. He said it had to be bombs. He said it had to be bombs going off. And I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump. I'm just letting you hear. Listen, he predicted it. Remember what I showed you earlier? He predicted this whole thing, and specifically who was going to be the fall guy and everything. He wrote that book in the late 90s and published it in 2000, long before 9/11 ever happened. And he laid out exactly what was going to happen step by step by step in that book that anybody can buy. The book is available on Amazon. Shit. So I got the receipts. Now let's hear good old Larry Silverstein talking about rebuilding the Twin Towers in a private meeting with his investors.
A football field. There were now only 42,000 feet. And the building is going to contain not 2 million feet, but 1.7 million. And that's one of the sacrifices we have to make. I said, let's make it and let's get on with it. And so, next thing you know, we've got the designs of a building. And the first design meeting was in April of 2000. And construction began shortly thereafter in 2002. And we went to finance the building with Liberty bonds, construction bonds from the Liberty Bond program. that was initiated by the federal government to enable us to rebuild the Trade Center. But it still required insurance company bonds, insurance company payments under the policies. And so, next thing you know, this building was under full construction.
Wow. Crazy. This guy, they're talking about building this thing before it even happened. He mentioned 2000. So he's even forgetting himself, like certain things you can and can't say. The plans started in 2000 for a new World Trade Center before the towers collapsed. Check this out.
In the event of any damage to the buildings, it was my obligation to repair the damage or replace whatever is necessary, to do it as quickly as possible, like kind, like quality. The buildings came down. My obligation now was to put them back. It dawned upon me very, very swiftly that we couldn't let this go. We couldn't let this sit fallow because there were families leaving Lower Manhattan by the thousands. I mean, they couldn't get out of here quickly enough. Firms, commercial firms, were leaving. The only way to reverse it was to rebuild. The only way to rebuild with private money was to take the insurance policies that I owned and collect. Instead of roughly $6 billion, we came out with $4.5 billion. People told us, hey, you'll never succeed, you'll never lease it, no one's going to want the space, you'll never rent it, you'll never finance it, don't build it. Everybody told me it's absolutely insane to do what I was doing, right? But I didn't listen to them, and I went ahead, built this building, and the net result is we leased it, and we financed it for 40 years, and it's an eminently successful building. I think the tower is beautifully designed. I think it will distinguish the New York skyline all over again. The new buildings are towers 2, 3, and 4. When you've got mass transit, which is what business looks for, you've got first-class space, which is what business looks for. You've got a first-class neighborhood, which is what business looks for. You've got an unbeatable combination. What we saw was the magnificence of what we're seeing today, and drove toward that. And happily, things seem to be working in the direction we had expected to begin with.
Things are working in the direction he expected it to go in. As you can see, he says so quickly, oh, it's just so, I was so sad what happened in 9/11, but we got to rebuild because the people are leaving and the corporations are leaving and we got to get it back. So we got to rebuild. We got to make money. This guy can care less about the people that died from those 9/11. He got his money. He got his billions of dollars. All right. It only cost him $15 million to buy the World Trade Centers. And he ended up with billions, billions of dollars. And he's in full collusion with all parties, the CIA, the FBI, the United States government, the Pentagon, the people that ran these stock scams like Enron and these other big stock scammers that were all involved in this, billion-dollar stock scammers, all of them in collusion together to pull off this gigantic thing called 911. Make billions more dollars out of it. Everyone got their submarine money passed around. And they blamed a bunch of dumb people that thought they were going to go get some virgins, and everyone believed it. And then they go, when Obama's in office, they go and supposedly get Osama bin Laden, but we're not going to show you his body because that would be against his religion. And people believe that one too. When the Osama family, the bin Laden family, were huge collaborators and partners with the United States. Huge. As a matter of fact, when all the planes got shut down after the 9/11 attacks, the only plane that was flying was the plane that had the bin Laden family on it. Look that up. Look that up. And still to this day, they're big partners with the U.S. in business. The whole thing was a sham from the beginning till the end. We got mind pimped. We got mind fucked. And we believed that, not all of us, the majority of people believe that these dumb goons ran around on planes with paper knives and their passports were magically all discovered. And they were able to go to flight school in some simulator class, some rinky-dink simulator class for a few weeks and learn how to fly commercial jets. and hit targets and coordinates that are damn near impossible for an average human being, an experienced pilot, yet alone a person that came off of a flight simulator. Some of these guys didn't even have passing grades. So they were able to execute these flight paths. Are you kidding me? We got juked once again because we're gullible. We, meaning the 8 billion people on this planet. We let 100 people control us. They tell us what we can eat, see, hear, touch, smell, taste, what we can say, what we can't say, who we can see, who we can't see, what invisible lines we can cross, what invisible lines we can't cross on the planet. At the end of the day, we have to look in the mirror because we're just as guilty of 9/11 as they are. Until we come together and stand up and unite and get out of this divide and conquer mentality and organize and stop playing their damn game, another 9/11 is going to happen sometime in the future. And it may affect not only us, but our future generations. With that being said, this is Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. Thank you for watching another episode of Billy Carson Uncensored. I hope you got some knowledge out of this tonight. I got to sign off for now, but I'll be back with another Uncensored very soon. Please share the link to this Forbidden Knowledge TV video that you're watching. Share the link to this Forbidden Knowledge TV video that you're watching. Let everyone watch this wherever they are in the world and get them on this network so we can continue to share real truth. And while you're on here, make sure you look around at some of the other content we have. The Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed series is right here. Just go find it and watch it on Forbidden Knowledge TV. All right. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank you for all the love and support. I'll catch y'all later. And for all the fathers in the house,